Guys, so I'm back for another round from our read aloud. So this time we're on chapter 16. And I'm trying things a little different today. We're doing it from my laptop, so we'll see if that's easier because it's been taking me with my phone typically about 12 hours to get it to load onto YouTube. So I'm hoping maybe, fingers crossed, it'll go a little faster on my laptop. I don't know. Paige told me to try it, so we're going to give it a try. So last time we read, they were with Snow White, and they asked her for the jewels from the coffin. Do you remember that? And she no longer has it at her castle. She gave it back to the dwarves. Uh-oh, Max is over here causing havoc. If you hear anything crash, it's just Max. So remember last time we were in the troll and goblin territory? What happened to Connor and Alex? Yeah, they got kidnapped. Do you remember? Troll Bella helped them get out. Oh, poor Connor. Do you think you want to go back to the place where you were kidnapped? I wouldn't either. Let's see what happens, okay? Chapter 16, Through the Mines. The twins didn't speak for the rest of the trip into the dwarf forests. They couldn't. There was too much to say and not enough words to express what they were feeling. The driver dropped them off a mile or so away from the mines, and the twins walked in silence the rest of the way. They weren't even alarmed or threatened by the forest around them. Their minds were so full, there was no room to become nervous or timid by the thick, chilling trees around them. The mines are just past the hill, Alex said, looking at the map. At least now they were speaking, just not about the subject they needed to address. The twins reached the top of the hill, and the other side below, there were several tunnels leading into the side of the mountain. They were much different than the tunnels they had seen in the troll and goblin territory. They were perfectly rounded and sturdy, because they're not with the trolls and goblins this time. Who are they visiting? The dwarfs, yeah. Oh, sorry. It shook the whole computer. They were perfectly rounded and sturdy. Dozens of dwarfs were working in them, transporting wagons of jewels and rocks from one tunnel into the next. A loud bell rang somewhere inside the mines, and a dozen more dwarfs emerged, carrying their lanterns and picks with them. It was the end of the day, and they all headed home in single file lines to different parts of the forest. Do you guys remember that in the movie when they would all head home and they would sing that song? I can just picture them singing, hi-ho, it's home from work we go. Do you guys remember that? And then they whistle, but you know I hate whistling, so I won't do that part. So I'm also nostalgic hearing things about the fairy tale characters that you grow up with. I bet that's how Alex is feeling too. Very nostalgic. The twins waited on the hill for a few moments before going into the mines, making sure no one was lingering behind. What does it mean, lingering behind, if you're lingering? Yeah, it's kind of like waiting behind or like lasting longer than the rest of them. Like they would still be like slower behind the rest, still inside the mines, lingering around is what we would call that. And I lost my place. They went through the largest of the tunnels and found they found a row of lanterns that hung low on the dirt wall just inside. They each took a lantern and walked deeper into the mountainside. The mines were huge. The shovels were lined up against the walls, and the floor was covered with tracks for the dwarfs' mining carts and stretched into the mountains for miles. The twins kept walking and walking with their lanterns raised high above them, being on the careful lookout for anything that might resemble a glass coffin. Are we going to talk about this? Alex asked her brother as they searched. Talk about the mines? He asked. No, you know what I mean, Alex said. I don't want to talk about anything but finding the coffin, Connor said. Connor, ignoring the situation isn't going to help any, Alex said. Ignoring what situation? He said, not looking her in the eye. We saw the curvy tree. It was another story Dad heard and told us when we were younger. Don't make this a bigger deal than what it is. Do you think Connor believes that? What context clues do we have that let us know that he does not believe that? He's not making eye contact with Alex, is he? Typically, if you don't make eye contact, you're not being honest. Yeah, I don't think he believes it either. I think it's what he wants to believe, but I don't think that's what he believes. That's not what it is, and you know it, Alex said, raising her voice. Alex, stop, Connor said. Stop denying it, she said. Alex, don't, he said. You've known since the minute we got here. You felt it too, Alex said. I know you did. You may be able to lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. I'm not lying. You're making things up in your head that you want to be true, Connor said, trying to hide the tears forming in his eyes. All my life, I was missing out on something. Like somewhere in the world, there was something going on that I was supposed to be a part of. Now we found it. It's this place. Part of us belongs here, she said with tears streaming down her face. You can't prove it, Connor said. Connor, face it, Alex yelled. And this is all in cap lock, so I can tell she's really yelling. Dad is from here. He's from the land of stories. Then why didn't he tell us? Connor shouted as it echoed through the mines. Why did he keep it from us? He sat on the ground, quietly sobbing in his hands. Alex sat on the ground next to her brother and cried with him. It was so much to take on, so much to digest. Maybe he felt like he couldn't, Alex said. He always said he would take us to the places where he grew up when we were older. We're still pretty young. Maybe he thought he would tell us when he thought we were old enough to understand. I think, hi kids, did I ever tell you I was from another dimension? Is pretty shocking no matter what age you are, Connor said. It's such a heavy thing to confess, Alex said. He must have been waiting for the right moment. And unfortunately, the right moment didn't come until it was too late. So, does that mean Grandma's from here too? Connor asked. I'm guessing so, Alex said. How did they get to our world then? There must be more than one way besides the wishing spell, Connor said. There must be, Alex said. But the wishing spell's all we've got so far, so we need to keep looking for the glass coffin if we ever want to see Mom again. The twins dried their tears and continued their search into the mines. You don't think Mom's from here too, do you? Connor asked. I doubt it, Alex said. She has photo albums of her childhood. Dad only had stories. Do you think she knows? Connor asked. She has to, Alex said. How could she not? They were married for more than a decade. Then maybe she knows where we are, Connor suggested. Maybe she isn't as worried about us as we thought. The twins spent another hour just walking through the mines. Connor had seen so many tunnels that he felt like the mine was starting to play tricks on him. He could have sworn he kept seeing things running around in the shadows. Did you see that? He asked, paranoid. You're just seeing shadows, Alex said. Oh, Connor said. I could have sworn it was... Never mind. The twins found a long miniature table with a few dozen miniature chairs around it. It looked like an area where the dwarfs took breaks from working. A large portrait of Snow White hung on the dirt wall behind it, and a glass coffin with rubies and diamonds sat against the wall underneath it. Bingo, Connor said. He used a pick that had been left on the table to pry a few of the jewels loose from the coffin and place them in Alex's bag. He could see where a few had already been taken by others before them. That was easy, Connor said. You think he's going to regret saying that? Has anything in the land of stories really been easy? Oh, as soon as he turned around to face his sister, he wished he hadn't just said that. Connor, Alex said, looking at her brother, who was completely petrified. What does it mean to be petrified? We've talked about like petrified wood before. Petrified is like when you're so scared, you're still a stone. It's like you're made of stone because you're too scared to move. Petrified. That's really scared, isn't it? Through the dim flames of their lanterns, the twins saw a dozen humongous black wolves circling them. They were surrounded by the big, bad wolf pack. The wolves growled at the twins and gritted their teeth. "Stay back," Connor said, and swung the pick at them. It didn't affect them at all. A few of them snickered. What's a snicker? It's kind of like a sarcastic laugh, isn't it? I think you would snicker at someone if, like, you're kind of, I don't think it's like a very nice laugh. "Are these them?" one of the wolves said. "Yes," another wolf said. "We've been tracking their scent for days." "Hello, children," said Malumclaw, creeping toward them. "I would say nice to meet you, but I can tell from your smell that we've crossed paths before." Speaking of crossing paths, there's Max. "Please don't hurt us," Alex said. She was shaking with fear and clutching to Connor. "Can we eat their limbs at least?" another wolf said. "She doesn't need their limbs, does she?" "She?" Alex asked. "Who is she?" "We agreed we would bring them to her unharmed," Malumclaw said regretfully, looking at the twins. "You're coming with us." "Connor," Alex whispered to her brother, "what are we going to do?" "I've got an idea," Connor said. He placed his lantern on the ground and took a step closer to Malumclaw. "Bad dog! Very bad dog. Sit." Oh, Connor. I can't even. The wolves and Alex all had the exact same expression on their faces. What was he doing? "I said sit. That's a very bad dog. Go to your basket." Do you think that's going to work? I can't even read that with a straight face, guys. Connor continued, shaking his index finger at Malumclaw. Whatever he thought he was doing was failing miserably, and it was just insulting the wolves. "I changed my mind," Malumclaw told his pack. "You can eat their limbs." "Well, I'm out of ideas," Connor said, looking back at his sister. "I'm not," Alex said. In one quick move, Alex kicked the lantern Connor had placed on the ground. It soared across the tunnel and crashed into one of the wolves, setting him partially ablaze. What do you think ablaze means? Setting him partially ablaze when she kicked the lantern at him. Yeah, think about blaze. A blaze from fire, so setting him ablaze means setting him on fire. Good use of context clues there. The wolves rushed to help extinguish their friend. Alex grabbed Connor's hand and they ran farther down the tunnel, going deeper into the mines. "After them!" Malumclaw commanded, and the remaining members of the pack chased after them. The twins ran as fast as they could. They only had one lantern left, so they were practically in the dark. They could hear the wolves stampeding behind them. Their howls were unbearably loud as they echoed down the tunnel. The tunnel began to descend, making it nearly impossible for the twins to run. And we've talked about the word descend a lot, haven't we? It means to go down. "Jump in there," Connor said, pointing to a minecart on the track. "No way," Alex said, but Connor picked her up and plopped her inside. He jumped inside himself and pulled the brake lever, and the cart began traveling down the tunnel at a rapid speed. What do you think rapid is? A rapid speed. Rapid means very fast. A few of the wolves swiped at them with their claws. The twins ducked down as far as they could in the cart, but not before one of them reached Connor and left a bloody scratch on his forearm. Alex kicked another right in the snout, and it whimpered away. Another wolf barely missed the twins with his claws, but knocked the brake lever right off his cart. The cart gained speed, and soon they were outrunning the wolves. "We're doing it. We're getting away," said Connor, holding out his hands over his wounded arm. "I wouldn't celebrate just yet if I were you," Alex said. She pointed to a sign that said, let's see what the sign looks like in here. Danger. Use brake lever while going down the tunnel. That's not good, Connor yelled, wishing for the lever to somehow grow back onto their cart. The cart began speeding faster down the tunnel as it descended at a steeper angle. They were going so fast. Too fast. They could barely open their eyes with their air rushing by their faces. This all reminds me of when you guys were designing your roller coasters and you had to get the right momentum and the right speed and the right height and angles to your coasters to make sure that they were safe. Do you guys remember that? It was so much fun. The track turned and dipped deeper into the mountains. The twins were afraid they were going to fly out of the cart if they didn't fly right off the track first. It was the scariest roller coaster they had ever been on. This would be awesome if it weren't for the fear of death, Connor shouted. He was even tempted to put his hands up, but he knew it wasn't an appropriate time. The cart zoomed through the mines, showing no signs of slowing down. In a matter of seconds, the twins' greatest fears had gone from being eaten alive by wolves to crashing in a dwarf mine. The track led them through a giant cave with stalactites pointing towards stalagmites and a large pool of water at the very bottom. Those are pretty pointy, aren't they? To the twins' horror, they passed another sign which said, Dead End. It appeared an avalanche of rocks had fallen on the track many years before, and now the twins were speeding towards a solid wall of rock that had formed there. The twins ducked as low as they could in the mine cart, bracing themselves for the traumatic injuries they were about to receive. The cart slammed against the rocks. It violently rattled as it broke through the wall. A few rocks fell into the cart, onto the twins. Alex screamed, and Connor covered his head as much as possible with his arm. Just when they thought they were surely about to die, the cart slowly came to a stop. The twins peeked from inside the cart. They were outside, somewhere in dwarf forests, on the other side of the mountain. I can't believe we just survived that, Connor said. They were pretty banged up, but they climbed out of the cart, not seriously injured for the most part. I bet they're sore, don't you think? They didn't want to waste a minute questioning their luck. The twins ran from the cart and into the trees. We've got to get out of here, Alex said. It won't be long before the wolves find us again. Who were they talking about? Who were they going to bring us to? Connor asked. I'm afraid to even say it. Ah! Alex screamed. They hadn't been in the forest for even a minute when they both felt brutal blows to the back of their heads. They fell to the ground, slowly losing consciousness. Right before they passed out completely, the twins saw the faces of Bobblewort, the troll, and Eghorn, the goblin, looking down at them, each holding a club in his hand. Not again, right guys? Now there's a little apple that shows me either a setting has changed or the time has passed, okay? The twins woke up with splitting headaches. They were bound together with rope in the back of a very familiar cart. Hey, Eghorn, look who's waking up, Bobblewort said. The little thieves have arisen, Eghorn said. The goblin and the troll were driving the exact same cart, but it was being pulled by a different donkey. The previous one had most likely been used to death. They kept Alex's bag between them as they traveled down the road. Alex and Connor fought against the ropes, but they were tied with triple knots around their hands and feet. Where are we? Connor asked. Alex strained her neck looking up out of the cart, but managed to recognize some familiar trees. We're back where they caught us the first time, Alex said. We must have been knocked out for an entire day. Would you like to make it 2 days? Eghorn said, raising his club. I can't believe this is happening to us again, Connor said. You can't enslave us again. We told the fairies about you. Oh, yes, we know, Bobblewort said. They came and gave us all very long lectures about it, Eghorn said. And they shut off all of our tunnels thanks to you, Bobblewort said angrily. Now we have to take the long way into our territories. Then let us go, Connor said. Not this time, Acorn said. You stole our king's crown while in our kingdom. According to the happily ever after assembly rules, we have every right to bring you back into our kingdom and charge you for the crime. It's gonna be one heck of a trial, Bubblewort said. Every troll and goblin will be there. And we've already scheduled you for beatings after the trial is over. Everyone in the territory will get their turn, Acorn said, and he and the troll howled with laughter. Connor stayed calm about the matter. He raised his tied hands just over the side of the cart. The scratch on his arm was healing, so he stretched so a few drops of his blood fell from his wound onto the ground as they traveled. What are you doing? Alex asked him. I'm leaving a trail, Connor said. She didn't know what to think of this, but she trusted him. Whatever he was doing, he had a plan. A few hours later, the twins had managed to shift themselves into a seated position. Where was I? The troll and the goblins continued entertaining themselves by predicting the horrible things the twins would have to go through once they got back to the troll and goblin territory. Connor began seeing dark figures running between the trees in the distance, like he had in the cave. Get ready, Connor said. They're here. Alex mentally prepared herself for whatever was about to happen. Who's here? Who did they see running between the trees earlier? Alex prepared herself mentally for what was about to happen. That was faster than I expected, she said. A small howl came from the trees. Who's out there? Big Bad Wolf Pack. Acorn and Bubblewort pulled on their donkeys' reins in order to stop. The cart came to a halt. Did you hear that? Acorn asked. Yeah, I did, Bubblewort said. They both pulled out their clubs and hopped off the cart, circling it for a moment. Over there, Bubblewort said. I see something. The troll and the goblin took off into the trees. Help me get my bag, Alex said to her brother. They began inching toward the front of the cart. Alex got a hold of her school bag with her teeth and dragged it back with them. It landed right by her hands, tied together, and she managed to open it and pull out Cinderella's glass slipper, almost spraining her wrist in the process. What are you doing? Connor asked her. Something that's going to hurt my soul and make me hate myself for the rest of my life, Alex said. She forcefully hit the slipper against the floor of the cart and broke it into 3 pieces. She used one of the shards to cut her and her brother loose. Whoa, Connor said. Never in a million years did I think you would do that. That was pretty gangster. We can glue it back together, right? Alex said, trying frantically to put the glass slipper back together like a puzzle. It'll still work for the wishing spell, won't it? Connor asked. The spell never said it had to be in one piece, Alex said. They put the pieces of the slipper back into the bag and jumped out of the cart. They ran into the forest in the opposite direction that the trolls and the goblins had gone. A few moments later, they heard spine-chilling screams and howls as the troll and goblin were attacked by the Big Bad Wolf Pack. The horrible sounds made the twins run faster. They knew it would be only a matter of seconds before the wolves picked up their scent and would be right behind them. They didn't even know where they were going. They just knew they had to get somewhere safe as fast as possible. Alex was eyeing the forest around them. There was a deep roar coming from close by. Could they be near an ocean? We're farther south than I thought, Alex said. I think we may be back in the fairy kingdom. Then let's find the fairy who can turn these wolves into chihuahuas, Connor said. He turned back into the distance behind them, and they could see several wolves running toward them at full speed. A moment later, the twins saw the wolves running slightly ahead of them, to both of their right and left, gaining ground and preparing for the attack. The twins ran through a set of thick trees and then came to a sudden and jarring stop. They were standing on the edge of a very high cliff overlooking the ocean. How do you get to the ocean so fast? Connor yelled. Look, Alex said. It's Mermaid Bay. We're somewhere between Fairy Kingdom and Sleeping Kingdom. Connor looked behind them. The wolves were only a few feet away from pouncing on them. No, it looks like we're somewhere between death and dying, Connor said. Alex, I'm really sorry about this. Connor pushed his sister and himself off the cliff seconds before they would have been tackled by the wolves. They were falling so fast they couldn't breathe or hear each other's screams. All they could hear was the rushing air past them. The twins plummeted into the ocean. The wolves stayed on top of the cliff for a few minutes, waiting for them to surface in the water. But they saw nothing. The twins were gone. That's the end of the chapter, guys. Next time I read, it's going to be Goldilocks, wanted dead or alive. That really makes me want to sing some Bon Jovi right now. I don't know about you. But until next time, guys, I love you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.